Hello and welcome to Cannabis is Not the Answer. My name is Kias and this video is going to be a bit about, you can say, parts of the motto of this channel or of Flower of Hemp in general. And that is, cannabis is not the answer, you are the answer, love is the answer. And I want to elaborate a bit upon the phrase or the say that love is the answer. Some people might find that a little bit corny, like, come on, love is the answer, but I really believe it is, and I actually think that this is one of the deepest and most healing aspects of our life that is pretty overlooked. So I want to talk a little bit about why love is the answer. And I have throughout the years seen a couple of sayings and all this kind of things, and some of them have been something like love is the answer whatever the question is, or like where it is questioned, what could the question be to love. And I believe that that is exactly what is the challenge in our life, but our health, and that is fear. Because while you love or faith that everything is as it's supposed to be and everything will turn out as it's supposed to be, everything has been, or whatever led to this moment was exactly as it's supposed to be. Fear is the opposite of that. Fear is a questioning, whereas, everything is, as it's supposed to be, or should something have been different, or how will the future turn out? And this is what I believe makes the energy stuck, like when we are thinking about something that we think should be different, like, oh, fuck, we get more tense. And it is through this tense, it is through this not allowing that the dis-ease starts, and it snowballs from small things. Now I've made other videos about that, from where it can snowball. But love is a letting go of that, a letting go of an idea that anything should be any different. And fear is a holding on that something should be different, or could have been different, or will turn out differently, that would be optimal for us, so to speak. So when we allow ourselves to open up to life and let that flow through us, this is when we will see some of these dis-eases disappear. And we all might have experienced and know someone who, never speaks up and gets problem with the throat, or someone who doesn't, dare to feel all the emotion and gets ulcers, or a lot of these things where the energy doesn't flow easily any longer. And then they experience sometimes, for example, like instant healing, where you fall in love, or you have a car accident, a near-death experience, and all of a sudden you let go of an idea of how you think the world is, or and you just you come into the present, or and then this is it, and you let go, and thereby you're having this that is called instant healing. But this kind of instant healing is basically, it's available all the time. But faith and love is our doorway, you can say, to that, even though this doorway has no real distance. It doesn't have a length. And one thing also that is of big help in this process is to be positive. Because positive is everything that unites, basically, whereas negativity separates. But when being positive, it has always to be authentic, and not like it is seen a lot in the New Age movement, a lot of other these kind of movements, where it is all people are like forcefully being positive. So they are, overlooking the feelings that are knocking on their heart right now. And this is again the pathway to dis-ease. because feelings are there to be felt, and it's all about being authentic. So it is only by going through disillusions of pains that we can come to the place of positivity, because pain is there to be felt. Healing is going through the pain. It is never avoiding the pain, which also is the reason why I started Cannabis Not the Answer, because so many people came to me and asked for oil to suppress their pain. But I told them pain is how you heal. I like to give or help people with oil that, can help them, going through the process of healing, but not to suppress it, entirely. Because then you will get addicted to the oil to handle your pain, and that keeps you from healing, and will actually eventually get unhealthy, because everything that keeps you, or everything you get addicted to, is or will eventually get unhealthy. So when you are, going through these pains that are present, the pains of disillusion, you have like disappointment, and you have grief and sorrow, and all these pains are pathways, doorways to go through in order to go from an idea of how the world should be to arrive in how things really are. So if someone, for example, let's say one of your family member dies, and it is really, really hard on you, and it is really painful to accept that, then the sorrow or the grief is the process of you and for you to go through and come to terms with what the truth is. So it's actually not the truth that hurts. It is actually the letting go of the template, or letting go of the idea of how things should be, or supposed to be, that is painful. But going through this pain of letting go of how you think things ought to be, or should have been, or should be, you come to terms with the truth. So and if you, for example, suppress that, for example, let's say alcohol, you'll get addicted to alcohol, and you will never heal. You will actually get unhealthy. Most likely something happens with your liver. Your liver is connected to suppressed anger also. So you can either use the outside world to handle it, basically, or you can go through that the painful path of healing. So these various pains are very important to go through. It is, like as I see it, there's nothing more healing than going through the pain of what you deep down know is the right thing, or good for you, or the truth. This is a way of healing. And to go through that, we will get more and more disillusioned of how we think the world should be. And we will, in the end up right here and realize that, wow, the perfection of the moment. But we don't want to skip to that step right away. We need to go and feel what is present right now. And it is from that idea that something should have been different that the dis-ease grows from. It springs out of that. And we can either project it out to the world and condemn the world and judge the world and have resistance and anger towards our reflection, basically, or we are taking that on and we are basically forgiving and letting go and turning the other cheek, and thereby feeling the pain. It is in the vulnerability, it is in the allowance of whatever misunderstanding has taken place of, we think things should have been different. It is in feeling that we can let go of it. But we can, of course, also use various methods, and one of them, and what gets more and more popularity, is, for example, a thing like yoga. Because it is all the intention that, you know, it is all the intention that doesn't get attention. So if we think the world shouldn't be a certain way and that doesn't come to pass, then there will be a tension left behind of how things should have been. So when your intention doesn't get attention, it will sit back as tensions. So these tensions are what make us more and more stiff, because we are holding on to an idea how things should have been. We're not flexible anymore longer, and we are, you know, condemning, and this should have been different, and they are, you know, and we are really. And this is where then yoga comes as a possibility. There are definitely other methods as well, but yoga is, you know, like stretching these tensions out of the body. So when you are stretching, you are releasing some of that, and you can then feel these pains, and you become more flexible and become more open. And this is where then life, prana, or however you want to call it, better can flow through you. And this is why a lot of people have healed a lot of things through yoga. So of course you can then look about scientific what happens in the body, but it is like the ease comes back into the energy. And one thing that goes with it is the breath. The breath is very important, because in this, the Danish word for breath is åndedræt. And even though hardly no one thinks about what they're actually saying when they say this word, åndedræt means as much as the pull of the spirit. So whenever you are breathing, you are pulling the spirit into the body. So you're creating a balance, so to speak, between the body and the soul with the spirit. That's the connection. So with that, you are, you know, getting, you can say, attention. Yeah, you're getting attention into the tension, you can say. And this is what happens, and this is what heals. So feeling that pain, showering some love on our fears, this is where we will, this is how we'll get capable of letting go of all these ideas of how things should be or should have been. And we will thereby come to a beautiful place of abundance, of balance, of authenticity right here. And it is always there, it is always available, but it is our idea of that something should be different that keeps us from it. So the connection to that is through the love, because love is the absence of an idea of that anything should be any different. So it's a direct connection to life itself. So these things are always there for us. Abundance, love, healing. This is always there. But we need to find these things within ourselves. We do that by letting go of the opposite. So if one feels to be an introvert, you know, like and disconnect from the world, you can say that it's a negative, but it's not a bad it is not a bad action at all. So you need to be authentic with where you want to go. But the more you align with that, and the more you align with life, the more you will feel connected to the world. And the more you feel connected to the world, which is a representation or a reflection of how connected you are to yourself, the less you will be annoyed by the world, so to speak. So we know if you're having a really, really good day these days, you even love your haters, so you understand them, you feel connected to them in a certain way. But on the days where you're having a really, really fucked up day, on these days you even get annoyed over small children singing in the bus, or annoying birds keep on chipping the same, or whatever. You will find some hook to place your jacket of dissatisfaction onto. But if you go through it, and when you connect to that place within yourself, you will feel more connected to the outside world, and you will automatically feel drawn towards being nice to others, and don't throw garbage in nature, and take care of your surroundings. And this is when these actions come and they are born and fueled by love, and not as it is now, where we're having a system that is trying to use fear to make people, love each other, or I don't know, the world is going down, global warming and terrorism, and if you don't do this, people will steal from you, and all these kind of things where we are, call it motivated with fear. But when we are truly motivated by love, we don't need that outside guidance any longer, because we are connected from where it really originates. So when we become the author of our life, we don't need these authorities any longer. And you can say they know that, and this is why all this fear is pumped into society, to give us the illusion of that we need them for protection and their services and all this. But when we come into really aligning with ourselves, we find out how little we need, and life becomes really, really simple. And we don't need all these things any longer. And their validations and their templates to go through in order to feel sufficient. Like fashion, for example. If you want to be beautiful enough to be loved, you better wear this now. Or if you want to be cool, or if you want to be likable, you better act like this, cultural, or whatever these kind of templates that are there, where we are living from the outside and in instead of from the inside and out. So when we are truly aligning with that, coming from love, then we're not addicted to substances, to other people and all these things, because we take responsibility for who we truly are. And when we take that responsibility, we will have the ability to respond to life always, because we have exactly what our reflection basically is. We are the reflection to the reflection, basically. But it is about truly and faithfully being who we truly are and expressing that. And when we do that, our experience will love us for it. So this is, as I see it, the path to healing. And don't get me wrong, I believe that there are a lot of beautiful medicines and herbs, and there's a reason why I'm selling CBD oil, but they are only a help. We ourselves need to let go of wherever in our lives we're holding on to an idea that we should be different, situations should have been different, and how things seem to develop will go against us or should be differently. When we come into the present, we will see how precious the world really is.